and then Pinko Zuckerman comes in on the bracha, and he's like this, and he goes. Yeah, and I remember people telling me all the time, oh, you should emulate Heifetz because Heifetz has so much control at the tip of the bow. But they say, Zuckerman, fantastic control he has at the frog. But this is not a matter of control, it's a matter of, actually they know. They know what they're doing.
Yes. Okay.
They know, Heifetz rarely plays at the frog.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time when he's playing, he stops at the Schwerpunkt and he plays like this.
Okay.
Once in a while he goes to the frog, but he goes away quickly because he understands what he's doing.
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
so, but what I propose, and Milstein taught me about using both feet, the turn on both feet, and I suppose he didn't listen to Auer. I think Auer was also saying that you have to stand on this foot.
Okay.
Right? Because most of the people did. But Milstein from Stoliarsky was a slightly different school, right? So using both. Now, there's a variation sometimes you'll see, especially with Milstein, he'll go something like, in some slow movements, he may be now it's moving together.
It's to release the pressure? Or?
No, but if you watch carefully, and Oistrakh does that too. Look at, but what foot am I on?
Okay.
See, so they don't do this because this doesn't work. If you try it, if you play for a while and you do those exercises, and then you take, for example, you start this. If you started here. Now suddenly you don't have the sound. It's not natural sound to play. Well, I could start at the tip, but then I'd have to go. But if I went, if I play the way I usually play, which is I don't press too much. If I go this way, I get to the frog, very uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. From here, I just release the release. So you can try something. Do you know the slow movement of this? You don't. Let's take that because that's more interesting. Yeah. So you could try that idea, or you take this boy. Play a little bit of that and see if we can put that into effect. Just think about that now. Okay, so now you did Apo, see? You did Apo and you went. That's what you did.
Really?
Yeah, you did this. See? And not, you didn't even do this, you didn't even turn, you went here. So if you're going to play Apo, think about this.
Yeah.
Try that. Just. Yes. Right. As you get to the frog, move into this foot. Try again. Come into the frog, yes. And then you have this. That's it. Right. And then relax. And come in. Exactly.
I have to think.
You have to think a lot about it, but I'll tell you something. This is one of the easiest things to learn, in a sense, because I tell my students, this is not. Don't think it is a matter of practicing. When I tell them to do those exercises, I tell them that you're remind yourself about how the body works.
Bless you.
Because after a while, it's very natural. You know. And this is in my classes. This is where I've had the most astonishing results in the player, because many times everybody that plays for me in the class, for example, is like in China. In China, when I go to China, they have a competition 1 month before I arrive to determine who's going to play.
Okay.
So everybody comes to play in there and they can play, right?
Yeah.
But occasionally somebody will come up and go like this, right? Or and they're coming here. Everything is completely backwards.
Yeah.
And what will happen with somebody like that is you'll see on their face eventually a great frustration. Because if you don't do this properly and you practice a lot, you can probably play very well in your room, in home.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're used to it. You learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But when you get on stage and you get the extra pressure of being on stage, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I understand, you know, the person I can see in their minds, like, I played this for 2 months, I never missed this shift.
Yes.
Now I can't do it, why? Right? And so what I do is what I do in that case is I ask them to go out of the room, that person.
Yeah.
And then I tell all the class, I give them this, I tell them about this, I explain this whole thing to them. And then I have the person come back and play again.
Yeah.
Now the people watching,
Yes.
they see with completely new eyes. They see how everything is backwards. They didn't see that before.
Yeah.
Then I work with the person like I did with you to get everything straightened out, and then I say play it again.
Yeah.
And the sound and everything much better. See, so I do that specifically that way because I like to. In everything I teach, I like to teach something so the person can immediately observe in another player to see how this is going. But this is so the work we've done today, I think now you sound much more natural sound. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Milstein used to say this way. The biggest compliment he could give somebody after he worked with them like this, and then they would sound better. He'd say, "You as a violin repair person, adjuster, will appreciate this." He'd say, "Now I hear the violin and not you."
Okay.
Because he doesn't hear all the frustration, the trying to make adjustments all the time, trying to get the sound. Now it just kind of goes by itself, right? It doesn't. You don't need so many extra things. Yeah. So I think if you work, on this, I don't want to do too much to confuse you, right? Because I give you a lot of information.
Yeah.
So,
write down.
So what we did, let's review what we did. First thing we talked about was to allow, first of all, to keep this open. That's the first thing I saw. That's the first thing I noticed. So I worked with that for a while. Then from there, I noticed that you're kind of lifting the bow too much. Your whole approach is actually to try to keep this in one piece this way and to somehow put this down on the violin and play, instead of using the violin. In a way, you can say the violin is holding the bow. I'm not holding the bow. The violin is holding the bow.
Yep.
Right. So you're allowing the weight of the bow to make the sound. But when I told you that, it didn't work because your violin was too much like that. So the flatter you can make the violin so that you can use gravity, the better, right? Okay. This, in the more advanced systems, we go more and more into this, and even the finding of the correct point that you want to play on it becomes a question of the balance of the body. So what I do with the very advanced players is I have them sometimes playing with a bow hold like this, so that they don't have, they give up their control of that. Yeah. Which I don't want them to do, but just to show. So I say, well, can you play like this now and play and make a good sound? And so what happens then, after a while, is the person realizes many people play with the violin here also,
Yeah.
right? So they don't realize it, but
Yeah.
they're actually having to control the bow from moving down.
Mhm.
So once I say, I don't let you control the bow like that anymore, then suddenly they get the idea, oh,
Yeah.
I'm controlling the bow from very subtle, subtle
Yeah.
balances here, right? But that's more advanced, right?
Yeah.
The main thing for you to think about is to just get that violin in a way that can accept the gravity of the bow.